inadvertently breaking the law, because there is a law that governs our employment of domestic workers. Do you know that law? Do you know what it requires of you? And do you know that if you are not doing it, you are breaking the law? There are consequences. Yeah, we're going to get education on all of that today from our guest, Maureen Frimpong, who is a talent manager and head recruiter at Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited. Maureen, what a pleasure to have you on our show. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Ififo. Sorry, Kojo, for having me.
Yeah, that's fine. Call me whatever you want. I don't mind.
Oh, no. Sorry, Kojo.
Yeah, and we'll be learning so much from Maureen this morning. Stay tuned as we get into all of that. But first, let me tell you this. The Electricity Company of Ghana would like to inform all of you of the ongoing exercise to digitalize all ECG assets and customer database in the Ashanti and Greater Accra regions. Okay, now as part of this exercise, ECG teams have been deployed to customers' premises to capture customers' data, including ID, telephone numbers, GPS codes, as well as meter details, and also to tag ECG transformers, poles, and meters with unique QR codes. This is all to help give you a better service. So listen, we are all advised to inspect the ID cards of the teams that visit our premises. And if we're in doubt, we can call the project manager on 0249 106 118 for the Greater Accra region and 0249 110 996 for the Asante region. Okay, they will authenticate any identities that you wish them to verify. ECG would like to take this opportunity to request your cooperation, all of you, and of course they know that it's a very important exercise which will aid the digitalization of their operations to the mutual benefit of the ECG and of course you, their customer. Now, Airtel Tigo would like to remind everyone that all unregistered SIMs will be permanently disconnected from the 31st of May 2023 in line with NCA's directive. So if you're a customer, you're yet to complete your SIM registration, you are entreated to visit the nearest Airtel Tigo shop immediately with your Ghana card to avoid permanently losing your numbers. What's more, you get up to 5 gigabytes of free data instantly after your registration is completed. So get registered now. Airtel Tigo, life is simple. All right, how about some economic theory? According to Abraham Maslow, a home is a basic need, and the COVID-19 pandemic really proved this to us. Owning a home in a serene, strategic neighborhood should not be a luxury, but a necessity. And JL Properties wants to make that dream a reality. JL Properties has been building homes for more than a decade. You can enjoy the ease of owning a fully complete home, or you can choose from their off-plan packages. At JL Properties, you can make internal adjustments to your home while it's still being built. A home from JL Properties means peace of mind and value for your money. Make your home with JL Properties today. Go to jlpropertiesgh.com or call 050 954 2973, or you can call 030 244 9037. JL Properties, the city's favorite developer. That song is to remind you that this conversation is about labor. Okay, it's about labor practices, about employment, and that is what your relationship with your domestic worker is. It's an employment relationship. Okay, so let's learn the terms of those employment relationships so that we can all comply with the laws. Very important, and I'm glad you stayed with us all this time so you can pick up this information. Our guest is Maureen Frimpong. She's talent manager and head recruiter at Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited. Maureen, I'm so glad you're here, and I think that the point from which I want us to start is to really define the situation here. We're talking about domestic workers,
Yes,
right?
we are. Yes.
So, who is a domestic worker?
A domestic worker is an individual who has been recruited to work in the household. And so it could be a nanny, a caregiver, it could be a gardener, any type of employment in the household. That could be defined as domestic work.
Okay.
Yeah, so the person becomes a domestic worker.
So from the house help to the guy who comes to iron your clothes, to the guy who comes to check every time you call him to come and fix your broken washing machine or whatever.
Yes.
All these people who come and work in your house.
In your household, yes.
Are
Domestic workers, yes.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. Now there's a law, isn't there?
There
that
is, there is
governs the
yes.
employment of domestic workers.
Though not very much regulated, but there is a law that helps us regulate such work. You know that domestic work is actually a menial or a blue-collar job, and this makes people think that it is just, I've just given you an assignment, do it for me. But Parliament passed a law in July 2020 about domestic work and how it should be regulated. And so employers are expected to have a written kind of like a written contract when they employ people in their household. This is to protect both employer and employee as well. So, yes.
The law you're referring to is the Labor Domestic Workers Regulations,
Yes.
LI
2408.
2408.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a law.
So what does the law say?
The law says that anybody you employ in your household should have a contract binding that relationship, that employment relationship. And so employers are expected to know this, that if I have recruited or if I employed an individual in my household, there should be a written contract that binds us. And this written contract should have some details. So the status of the person, the religious background, tribal preference, and the age of the person, because legally you should be 18 years and above to be part of the working class.
That's important. So if you have a house help in your home who's not 18 years old,
It's illegal. It's illegal, and you must be 18 years and above to be in the working class, in that bracket of work. And so if you're 18, you can work, but if you're below 18, it's illegal to keep such people at home and say that they're helps at home, or you are doing them a favor. Sometimes it sounds nice when people come in and say that, oh, I'm helping the person. Oh, they're my uncle's daughter who died. I mean, my uncle died, I'm taking care of them. But as long as the person is in the home to help or to work, it should be put down in a contract, and that should be binding as well. And so
that is interesting.
Very.
Important, actually. Because, Maureen, I'm thinking about the number of people who are listening right now who, like you said, some relatives, daughter or something has been brought into the house, and they will tell you, oh, I'm paying for her to go to vocational school to learn a trade.
yes.
I feed her every day.
Yes.
You see how expensive food is.
We have a lot of that.
I give her free accommodation. I mean, she Accra, you can't rent in Accra.
You can't.
And I'm paying for her to have a place to stay. Can this all not be classified as pay?
It can. It's part of the remuneration. But as long as the person is doing some type of household chore, it should. If they're your relative, you should put it in a binding contract that you work in my house. I'm using your pay to pay for your vocational education. But if you don't do that, and the person comes and says that they're being treated wrongly, you could be prosecuted for that, because it's work. Yes, because out of their own maybe volition, they've been able to come and say they would stay with you and work with you, but it is employment. And if that employment is paid in a way of remuneration or a package, then we're using your pay to take care of you in school. It should be put in a contract. And so if tomorrow the individual gets up and says that I was cheated by my auntie or my uncle, you can show the paperwork. And it sounds quite far away from us, but it's getting there, where people feel that they are mistreated by relatives in the name of I'm helping you. But if there's a binding contract, then employer-employee are protected. And so we don't have people running to the labor offices and saying that their uncle died and their wife is treating them wrongly, or their auntie died, uncle is treating me wrongly. But if this has a contract and it's binding, then we're all safe. So the Parliament passed a law to protect not just the employer, the employee, but also the employer, because if it's stated, then you can get to that place where we know what is binding us and what type of employment it is. So if I'm using your money to pay for your school, you have agreed to it, so you have to sign.
I think the key message from what we've learned so far, Maureen, is that this is an employer-employee relationship.
Yes.
It's not a family
No.
and friends
No.
relationship,
No.
which means that all the things that apply, well, the general principles that apply to an employment relationship should apply here, including the terms under which you can fire someone.
Yes.
Now, my understanding, well, in my experience, what I've seen happen in many homes is that you do something, they are upset with you, they give you a couple of chances, you keep doing the wrong thing, and they're like, okay,
you're
go back
fired.
to the village.
Yes.
And then they pack your things, give you money, and send you to the village. Anything wrong with that?
There's something wrong, and that brings us back again to the reason why you should have a contract. And so in the contract, your job description is stated there, and if it is stated, you know what makes you viable to a loss of a job. And so if you regard that, you would put yourself in that place to regard the terms of employment. But if there's no contract, then if I misbehave and you sack me and I think it's unlawful or you are not fair to me, I could take you up. And then what binds that relationship? So sometimes relatives can, in terms of that relatives relationship, can cause people to think that, oh, oye mebusieni, so let's just get on with it. But sometimes this same mebusieni that looks a bit dependent on you goes out and takes you on. But if there's a contract, then it binds the two people together, and it also puts you, the employer, in a place where you don't just get up and sack somebody. So if on my contract you've written that if you stole or if you're caught stealing, this is what is meted on you, then I know that if you don't, for instance, you open my gates to strangers without my permission, this is what is meted on you. It is all stated in a contract. It makes it easier for you to relate with your employer. But if these things are not put in a contract, then it's more like a banana republic, and you're expecting. So you see that the role and responsibilities are there, but then we cannot work around it because there is nothing binding us. But if I have read that in my household, this is how I expect things to be done, or this are the ways you should behave in my household, I should be able to follow through. But if you don't put that in a contract, what then binds us? So it puts us in that place where employers must understand that it is employment, and you state your expectation, their roles, their responsibilities, and yours also. And again, it comes to offer. What am I offering you as an employer? You must understand that I'm offering you this for that. That should be stated in the contract. But if it's not stated, it becomes, it becomes very open, and that's not good.
Now, the thing that perhaps one of the main differences between domestic workers and any other kind of worker is that they don't go home at the end of the day, usually, typically.
Usually, yes, usually.
So they are there with you in the house.
Yes.
Which means that you will see many examples of a domestic worker working every day, 7 days a week, because you are there and the work needs to be there. Every day we'll eat in this house. Every day we'll clean in this house. And you are here, so you will do it. Let's talk about work-life balance.
That's important. Work-life balance for us, I would talk from an agency point of view. If you're putting up the contract, you should know that per every 6 hours, the domestic worker should have a 45 to an hour rest time. And that is also stipulated in the law. But if you don't know this, you will think that, like you're saying, I'm at home, why can't you help me do what you're supposed to do as a domestic worker? If there's a contract and the relationship is employment, it has to be regulated. They are allowed for an hour, 45 minutes every 6 hours per hour agency contract, so that you don't just sit at home and say the whole time you should just be working. That's not fair. That's not even good for their mental health. So we want people to understand that if you're bringing a domestic worker into your home, you must understand that they also have rights, and that right is legally binding. It is passed by Parliament, and so employers of domestic workers should take note that domestic work is work, and then it should be regulated properly, even though it's in the household. And so we know that most people leave for work and then they come back in the evening, and in these times you would have had a plan on how the domestic worker should work whilst you're away. Again, I wouldn't want to, throw in agency, but when employers understand the role of agencies in this, then we become the middle people to help them, create that great working relationship between them and their domestic workers. Because,
Right.
yes,
Now, I'm wondering about how I have weekends, right?
yes,
And my working day ends at a certain point. You've actually talked a little bit about that.
yeah.
But are these things all to be provided for in a contract? Is it supposed to show what days off?
Yes.
Is it illegal to employ a domestic worker who will work round the clock, 24/7?
Yeah. Per the law we stated earlier, it is illegal because they're entitled to work, to have time of rest, to have even the accommodation stated in the contract. What type of accommodation are you going to sleep with somebody? All of these are part of the human right. And so if I'm going to share a bedroom, for instance, with somebody, I should know in my contract. We've had stories where people were happy to go to work and they got there was another person in the room and they said they weren't comfortable living with another person. An employer may think that you're a domestic worker, why should you tell me who should be in the room with you? So these little things are very important, yet we just say it's not important, or they're just a domestic worker. But now times are changing. They're becoming very sophisticated, and for instance, if they've lived in a home where there's a lot of sophistication, and then they lose their job, come back again to maybe a middle class background, they have a taste already. Even though they're domestic workers, they have acquired a taste of luxury, and so they seem to know what they want, and per law they're in their right space. Yes.
I'm wondering, for those who live with their employers,
Yes.
does this mean that in addition to an employment relationship, there's also a tenancy relationship?
Okay, again, it comes back to the agency. We get a lot of that. Like, I pay their rent, I pay accommodation, I pay their food, I take care of them, I give them toiletries and all of that. But it's remuneration. And so total could be that, for instance, they're earning 1,500, but we've considered all of that and we've come to the terms of payment. So the cash you give to them is really not what they're earning, but the agency looks at all of this, puts them down, and then gives you what you can pay at the end of the month in terms of salary.
Okay.
Yes.
When I asked about the tenancy relationship, I was wondering because, I mean, I've been a tenant,
Yeah.
and there were conditions
Yes.
to my tenancy. So, for example, I couldn't have certain pets,
Yes.
right? But my home was my home. I could decorate it the way I want.
Yes.
I can have whichever visitor I want to have
Yes.
because I've paid
You're
rent.
a tenant, yes.
I'm a tenant. So I'm wondering how it differs when it comes to residential domestic workers. Can they have whichever visitors they want on their
No.
days off and so forth?
Yeah, the days off, we would prefer to say that because of our cultural situation, we would prefer that domestic workers meet their family members outside of the property where they work because of some excesses. And so if you want to allow that as an employer, you should be ready for what comes with it. So if they're a tenant, all of this should be stated that no guests allowed in the property. If you want to see your mother, your father, or a relative who's come to maybe the vicinity where you live in, you should meet them outside of the property just to curb security issues and people coming into your space when you're not available. And so if they are caught with a relative or a friend in your property, then you can say that they've done wrong by you. But if this is not stated and you meet them there, you can only shout and scream. But if we try to regulate this and respect the boundaries set in terms of employment, for instance, if you work in Bank of Ghana or even Joy FM here, I don't think you can just ask a relative to come in anytime they wish. At a point, your employers will be worried. And so, but it should be stated.
But
because
if I live in a property owned by Joy FM,
yes.
I can have guests whenever.
But this is quite the proximity in terms of who is with your employer in the same space, and the security is also something they care for. So if a third party is entering the property and I don't know them, I employed you and not your family. So if your family wants to come in, you should meet them outside of the property, maybe in a cafe somewhere, in a general place, not in my space. We've had issues with that, and so as an agency, we try to keep it that you are the one employed. Anything apart from you, it's trespassing.
So if you are married, for example, you can't be having conjugal visits.
Your employer could consider that, but find a hotel.
If you just joined us, we're talking to Maureen Frimpong. She's from Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited. These are experts when it comes to domestic workers. They're teaching us a lot about the things we didn't know. And speaking of things we didn't know, when we come back, I am very curious to find out today in Maureen's industry, what's the minimum qualification required for a domestic worker, and how much are they earning? All of that when we come back.
Super Morning Show.
Wow! Kofi, is that your new car? It's very stylish.
Yes, it's the Volkswagen Polo Sedan with over 600,000 sold worldwide and now available in Ghana. It comes with a 1.6-liter automatic petrol engine and 105 horsepower. It is well equipped with a durable design, reliable safety features, and built with German quality standard. Linda, this car is value for money. It even comes with a 3-year, 120,000 kilometer warranty. It gives me great driving pleasure every day.
That's impressive. I would like to own one too.
Well, contact Universal Motors Limited on 0544 338 804 to own yours now.
Mosquitoes come through your door, kill it, will kill them for sure. Kill it, will kill them for sure. Kill it, insecticide spray, kill it, mosquito paw. Anywhere them day, we've got kill it today. Intuntum nintefre, kill it. Wawe bia, kill it. Mosquitoes and insects, kill it. So they come there, yeah. Kill it. Intuntum nintefre, kill it. Wawe bia.
Have you heard? Kill It is back and available nationwide at all shopping outlets. Buy what kills mosquitoes, cockroaches, and all flying and crawling insects. Use Kill It Insecticide's strong and long-lasting formula that leaves a lingering sweet aroma. Buy Kill It Insecticide. Todiakum. This product is FDA approved.
The Ghana Chamber of Mines presents the 5th edition of the Ghana Mining and Energy Summit from the 7th to the 9th of June 2023 at the Accra International Conference Center. The theme for this event is Harnessing Mining and Energy Potential for Sustainable National Development. Join us for 3 days of thought-provoking discussions with industry experts, top business executives, government officials in and outside Ghana's mining sector. There will be opportunities for B2B meetings, networking, collaboration, and exhibition of products. Come and discover the latest trends in technologies and innovations in mining and energy sector. Register now and be part of this prestigious event. Visit www.ghanaminingsummit.com to register or email info@ghanaminingsummit.com for more details.
Mr. Bossman, with all these computers, servers, and electronic equipment, I know they see one cable for the floor crack.
Charlie, you be right too. We they use raised access floors from Interface, so all the cables they hide under the raised access floors. So
this be the solution to the plenty cables where they my computer room for office. Accountant, call Interface now.
If you're involved in new property development, renovation, or decoration, the right place for you is Interface Limited. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook, Interface Limited GH. Instagram, interface.limited.
It does get better anytime your favorite shop, Melcom, says it's there for you and got you covered with all your daily need items. Continue shopping on products ranging from groceries, stationery, electronics, homeware, kitchenware, furniture, home decor, electricals, and many more at low prices. Terms and conditions apply. Melcom, where Ghana shops.
Historic, iconic, and thrilling. Birth in Spain, 1635. Caught the eyes of the world. Performed in almost all stages in Europe. Listed as one of the 40 greatest plays of all time. Now in Africa, Accra. It's the Afrocentric edition of Life is a Dream by Lateef Abubakar. Live at the Accra International Conference Center, 27th and 28th of May. 2 shows each day, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. for 150 cities dial *447*1 1092# to grab your tickets or visit Al Latif Globe on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for details. Early bird ticket at 100 cities before the 19th of May. Available at Joy FM, Barcelona Total, and Airport Shell. Life is a Dream is sponsored by Embassy of Spain, MNC Group,
The second coming of Nkrumah Project.
powered by Joy Entertainment, Graphic News App, and Globe Productions. Global Productions, experience the best.
Imagine say water wake up at dawn. E no buff, e no chop. When it vanish for your area for 2 weeks, you not get one drop safe inside your tank.
Hey.
Haja, our life was in dangerous. Only our neighbor get water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank get meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selenium. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe, so say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! As my boss, Mr. Poncho, go talk.
Beautiful, durable, with water level indicator and accurate volume of water. Water tank. What a tank! By Duraplast.
Welcome to the original magazine show. The Super Morning Show. Coffee in your cup. Enjoy on the set.
Well, you're welcome back, and we're learning very interesting details about the employer-employee relationship that should exist between you and your domestic worker. Things you might not have known. For example, the Labor Domestic Workers Regulations LI 2408 apply to you, and they say quite simply you must have a contract with your domestic worker, and that contract must explain the working and living conditions which will be legally binding. All right, you cannot pay your domestic worker less than minimum wage. Your domestic worker cannot be younger than 18 years old, and you absolutely have to pay their SNIT contributions. These are things that perhaps you haven't been aware of, but well, from today you have no excuse. You've got to do it. All right, and we're learning all of this from Maureen Frimpong, who's the talent manager and head recruiter at Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited, and we've got lots more to learn from Maureen. I am very curious to find out how much the average domestic worker is getting paid these days. Might surprise you. Anyway, we're coming to that in a moment. First, every time we eat, food and sugars get trapped between our teeth, leading to tooth decay, gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath. Brushing your teeth every morning and night with Pepsodent Cavity Fighter gives your teeth the protection they need, leaving you with 10 times stronger teeth. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter is fortified with profluoride and microcalcium ingredients, sealing tiny and invisible holes in your teeth. This prevents cavities, it keeps your teeth strong and your mouth healthy. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, maximum cavity protection, 10 times stronger teeth. Pepsodent has been doing this for 25 years, and so they are recommended by the Ghana Dental Association. They've got two other brands under the Pepsodent umbrella. Pepsodent Charcoal, with a fine blend of activated charcoal and lemon essence. There's Pepsodent Charcoal White as well, which gently polishes away tooth stains and naturally restores your bright smile. The other one is Pepsodent Herbal. All right, now it's uniquely formulated from carefully selected natural extracts and uniquely blended herbs. It releases, repairs, and protects gum tissue while keeping you healthy and giving you strong teeth. Okay, you can get Pepsodent at any shop near you. You can call their customer care center with your questions. It's a toll-free number, 0800 2030. Always remember to brush your teeth in the mornings and before you sleep at night. Pepsodent, every smile matters. So now's your time to enjoy the Royal Foam mattress at an affordable price, okay? Times are hard, so as prices rise, Royal Foam is bringing you a sales promotion. They call it Wunso Unre. You get 10% off the current prices of their mattresses, plus a free pillow. So you can enjoy all of that when you call 020-227-1000 for more information. Royal Foam, rest assured. Now, life is go, 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 and it's hard to make time for the things that really count. So ABSA won't let banking get in your way. That's why with their digital channels, you can bank when, where, and how you want. so you can focus on what and who is important to you. Banking has never been this easy. Transfer funds into your savings account, pay your old school union dues and your DSTV subscriptions, and so much more with a click on your phone. Get things done simply with ABSA's digital channels. That's Africanacity, that's ABSA. Terms and conditions apply. Go to absa.com.gh for further details.
Coffee in your cup. Enjoy on the set. The super
We're learning things we never knew about recruitment of domestic workers. Maureen Frimpong does this for a living with Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited. Already we've learned a lot from her about the conditions under which we can recruit, maintain, and dismiss domestic workers. All right, Maureen. So, I mean, this is a sector that we don't know a lot about.
Yes.
Tell us, how much does the average domestic worker earn these days?
Yes, the average domestic worker will be asking for nothing less than around 800 cedis, even though the law stipulates that they should earn above nothing less than minimum wage, which would take us around 500 cedis less. You know, nobody would accept that. So around 800 cedis to up to 2,000 cedis, depending on the category. Like we said, for domestic workers, we have the nannies, we have housekeepers, we have caregivers for the aged as well. So under the umbrella, it depends on your experience and what you're doing in the household that would bring us to how much you can earn. But averagely today, as an agency, I would say that from 800 cedis is a fair payment.
So the ones who are earning the 2,000, what kind of qualifications?
They've got experience. You know, sometimes over here, our skill-based employment is quite low. But for domestic work, if any parent or any household owner could say that you would prefer an experienced domestic staff, less stress, less talking, you know, it gives you a lot of peace of mind. And so those who earn about 2,000 cedis may be especially those who care for the aged, and sometimes children living with a disability or children that have some kind of growth issues. Yes, so some of them have learned and they have qualifications to buttress the pay they earn. So it's not something that is far-fetched. They earn that. They earn that much.
Yeah. Aaron stopped tweeting for a moment and started writing his resignation letter. So I hope you heard that.
But it's hard work, you know.
Experience.
Yes. You must be skilled in this, and then your employer will be willing to pay you that. If I have a child living with maybe some kind of ailment and I can't be there for them, I need somebody, a nurse, a home nurse, who would be with my child. And you know how difficult it is to live with children or people living with a disability. And so they earn that much. I have a client who pays 2,800 for 2 children who I wouldn't want to use disabled, but
they have some challenges.
Growth, yes, issues.
So let me ask you this. I mean, do they charge by the number of children, for example?
Yes, we do. That's the work of the agency. Because we understand the domestic worker, we become a third-party organizer. And so if I know that you're a domestic worker who've got experience with children, I would prefer that I would place you in a household where there are children. Some have experience mainly for older people, and so you place them there. The point is that employers must understand the role of agencies, qualified and professional agencies, to place the right staff for them. That can become quite difficult for us because a lot of employers think that, oh, it's just a job, I need somebody to be with my parent or my child. But if they're not qualified and they're not trained, sometimes we give trainings as well, depending on what the client may need. But we take it very seriously that if we're going to take care of your child or an adult parent of yours or a relative, you must have somebody who has some kind of experience. So we have some community nurses who work on our payroll because they have the experience to deal with people who have illnesses that need to be controlled and do not want to stay in the hospital. So domestic workers do earn more, but employers must plan and have a way to maintain a good relationship with them, that gives you a peace of mind and a better working relationship with the domestic workers.
It just occurred to me that even at 800 cities, many domestic workers are earning more than most drivers.
Oh yes, it's hard work. It's hard work, Kojo. It is. It's hard work.
So in a family where the husband is a driver and the wife is a domestic worker, the domestic worker is likely to be the breadwinner. That's an important thing to note.
Most of the times. And with domestic workers, you've got tips. If you have a very good, not a very good employer, somebody who is considerate as an employer, you have a lot of packages that come, incentives that come apart from what you actually earn at the end of the month. And so they earn a lot because they do a lot for us. Sorry.
What sort of qualification? I mean, these days, even if you want to be an errand boy in an office, you need a degree. Do you need a degree?
No, you don't need a degree. For us, we look at your availability, enthusiasm to the job, because we'd explain to you what it entails. You have to be very obedient. You have to be receptive. You have to be reliable and dependable. And so these are the skills that we look out for. And then apart from that, educational-wise, we prefer to do SHS minimum. If you've done JSS and you couldn't continue, but you can read and write, because most of our clients are people in households where children want to read or learn something. So you should read. And if you can't read, that's fine. But you should be 18 years and above. But secondary school for us is the best for us. Yes.
So look, when someone walks into your agency and says, look, I'm interested in being a domestic worker, you have to assess them to determine whether they're suitable.
Them, yes.
What are you looking out for?
Wellness, first of all. Are they capable? So that's where placement comes in. If I see person A and I realize that you look very enthusiastic, but can you work with children? Depending on what the client has asked us to do for them, can you work with children? Do you work with older people? Are you patient? Whilst we're having the interview, we're picking things from what they say. Oh, somebody can just make a loose statement, and so media meantime that you know that if your child is hyperactive and we have assessed your household, we cannot place that person with you. And that's the job of the agency. Again, I'd like to take us back that employers must understand that the roles of qualified agencies are very important for the placement of domestic workers, because some of them become unwell because they've been given too much work than they are capable of. And so you need to check for wellness, you need to check for their enthusiasm to the job, and also for if they are ready and willing to live with that particular family. Some people will tell you, I don't want a family that has a man in. I want a single lady to work with. Maybe they've encountered some kind of abuse in the past, and so there's so many things you're looking out for. And that's why in our processes we try to ask employers to give us 5 to 10 working days to get the best person that's suitable for their homes.
How about when you're assessing the homes? What are the things you're looking out for?
We're looking for peace of mind in terms of relationship between man and wife. I wouldn't want to go into that relationship, but sometimes we've got clients that come to tell us that let the girl or the lady understand that when she comes to the house, my husband is blocked from accessing her. He's not her employer, yes, because this is a domestic work, so you have to consider everything that comes up with it. Yeah, so the lady of the house can tell you that I don't want you to give my husband not even a cup of tea. He's not your employer. Look at me and the children. And so we're looking at that synergy in the home. If the domestic worker is going to live in an outer house, or they're going to
smiling because I'm imagining a husband who is paying for a domestic worker, and and the law is that he cannot benefit from her services.
Oh yes,
crown to me, young boy.
Most of the time, the ladies pay when they.
Shame on you.
It's household issues, and so you have to consider that. Where's the domestic worker going to live, their accommodation, if it's comfortable, basic as possible, but it must be comfortable. And then what they're entitled to. Are you going to feed them how many times a day? Some households will say twice, because we eat twice a day, or 3 times a day. So all of that, we want to check the type of children they have, if they have children. If there's an older person living in the house, is the domestic worker responsible for that old person as well? So sometimes people come to you and say, oh, I just have 2 children in the house. That's all they'll be doing, just a little washing here and there. But when you go home to assess it, there's grandma, grandpa. You know how, irritated they can be with these things. And so if you go there, okay, there are 4 people in the household, but they reported 2 people. So it's very important for us to know the truth and to let us know the parameters in which the domestic workers would be operating from.
All right.
Yes.
Now, I mean, the fundamental thing we've learned is that you need to obey the law. There's a contract. You need to have a contract. You need to ensure that there are conditions of service. You pay SNIT and all of that.
Yes.
So, for those who don't do that, or those who don't abide by the law,
yes,
in what ways can things go wrong for them? I'm sure you have stories.
Yes, I have stories. For instance, there's one client who slapped a domestic worker. Yes, these things happen. And for us as an agency, we try to withdraw. When you've come with a grievance 1 or twice about your domestic worker, we try to withdraw because not every worker is compatible to the employer. And so this young man went outside of town to work for his employer and then didn't obey 1 or 2, and then he got slapped. They came to the office and the owner of the house was ranting and screaming and this common house boy, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was quite degrading for a human being. If you have a problem, you report it to the agency, and then we would solve it. We do arbitrations at some level with these people. But he didn't listen, and I had to take him to the police because now it's left my hands as an agency, but now it has to go according to the law. I mean, he was detained for some hours, and the boy had to be withdrawn, but he got another placement because that family was not suitable for him. Yeah, so sometimes there's abuse in the family, in the household, and you can go in and they think that everybody lower than the man of the house or the woman of the house can be hit, or corporal punishment could be meted on them. And so you should check and then know the state of the household and also what your parameters of employment would be.
Hey, slap.
Oh yes, yes.
Anyway, listen, we're talking to Maureen Frimpong. She's with Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited, teaching us all there is to know about employment obligations to domestic workers. She's got lots and lots more stories for us, but we want to hear from you. I'm sure you have questions too. I'm sure you've had situations that you want to check and see, was this right? Is this correct? Is it the right way to handle things? Maureen has all the answers for us. When we come back, we'll hear from you. Stay with us.
Morning Show.
Free home theater, free Bluetooth speaker, cash discount, and more. Big double cash discount on LED smart TVs, smart refrigerators, smart inverter air conditioners, freezers, mobile phones, laptop, printers, and many, many more. And get your LG, Samsung, Panasonic, Sony, Philips, Infinix, Xiaomi, Tecno, HP, Lenovo, and many more international brands. Only at Electromat. Rush to the nearest or closest Electromat shop or WhatsApp on 0552 755456. Electromat, your world of electronics.
Someone smells great here. And fresh, my love. I wish I could stay in the shower all day. I know, right? Nothing beats a bath with geisha soap. It smells so good, it lasts long, and it's enriched with natural ingredients that work wonders for my skin.
And it now comes with a fresh new look, giving us even more reasons to love our geisha bar.
New and improved geisha soap. Great new look, better fragrance, same natural ingredients, still all last time. This advert is FDA approved.
Be strong and last long. Like geisha.
Anytime is a good time to have a break. Introducing Munchie Anytime Crackers. It's perfect for break times, party times, movie times, and snack times. Savor the moment. Enjoy Munchie Anytime Crackers anytime. Munchie Anytime Crackers. It's light and tasty.
This advert is FDA approved.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call, and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Have you ever been on a cruise? Imagine sleeping and waking up to the view of calm blue waters in the comfort of your cabin whilst visiting different cities like Santorini, Mykonos, Barcelona, Bahrain, Walvis Bay, and Venice, where for about 7 days you're treated like royalty on board a floating resort with food, drinks, entertainment, accommodation, and several relaxation and fun therapies. Our packages to the Mediterranean, Southern Africa, Greek islands, and the Persian Gulf are available every week. Talk to your cruise people today and learn about the cruising and how it impacts productivity, mental health, and your general well-being. For inquiries, call your cruise people on 0308 251 055 or visit yourcruisepeople.com.
We shouldn't have gone to that party.
Masa, my head is killing me. Is that your stomach?
Yes.
What did you eat?
I don't know.
Get rid of your gastric problems with number 10 liver salt. Number 10 gives you quick, effective relief from nausea, indigestion, heartburns, hangovers, and hyperacidity. And with different fruity flavors such as orange and lemon, it's a pretty tasty way to end an uncomfortable situation. Number 10 liver salt from Ernest Chemist, because everyone needs a chemist.
This advert has been vetted and approved by FDA.
What? It seems Royal Foam did not get the memo. Times are tough. Prices are going up. They're giving 10% discount, free pillows with every purchase. Hey, Royal Foam. Just when you thought all they manufacture are quality but affordable mattresses and pillows, they take it up a notch by being thoughtful in these hard times. Royal Foam has reduced their prices drastically. Buy a mattress, get a free pillow. Enjoy 10% discount instantly, nationwide. Take advantage. Enjoy Royal Foam. Enjoy the best.
Call Royal Foam today on 020-227-1000 for more information.
Royal Foam. Rest assured.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy. We're learning all about domestic workers and the rules that govern their employment. Maureen Frimpong is teaching us all about it. She's from Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited. Today happens to be Auntie Cho's birthday. Mrs. Catherine Chocho Lamte is a retired educationist, and she's the proprietress of Grace Memorial School in Abeka, La Paz. This is from your siblings, cousins, children, grandchildren, in-laws, and the entire Provençal family of Usu and the Lamte family of Accra. And the Provençal family includes Oscar Provençal, who sent this one in. It also happens to be Oscar Provençal's daughter's birthday today. Sharianne, happy birthday to you. That was yesterday, so belated happy birthday, Sharianne. All right, it's the Super Morning Show, and in a moment we're opening the lines to hear your questions, your stories and experiences of either recruiting domestic workers or perhaps being a domestic worker. Either way, we'd love to hear from you. And now, Adansi Travels, the 2022 Best Tour Operator, awarded by the Ghana Tourism Authority. I was there for that. Congratulations. They are pleased to invite you to join their 10th anniversary trip to Dubai. This 10-day fun-filled trip starts from the 10th of August. It's a chartered Emirates flight to Dubai. And listen, it's amazing. A wonderful holiday experience like you've never experienced. It's a 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star option for you, and you get unforgettable fun at Dubai Desert with the legend Samini performing live at the camp. And listen, it's a one-time trip you should never miss. The rate starts from just $1,650. Yeah, and it covers your Emirates flight, hotel accommodation, visa, tours, airport transfer, and some meals as well, all for $1,650. That is, wow. You should look into that. If you want to book, go to adansitravels.com or call 059 5500 817. You can also try 059 3850 082. Please note, besides the chartered flight date on the 10th and returning on the 19th of August, you could also join the trip on the 13th or the 15th and have a shorter time with them. Adansi at 10. It's a vibe. Book now to feel the beauty of life with Adansi. So the ECG would like to inform all of you, especially customers of the company, that although they are working tirelessly to strengthen and maintain a robust distribution network, massive rainstorms and stormy winds usually cause trees to fall, billboards and ripped roofing, etc., to damage electrical conductors, resulting in outages. Now, these outages caused by transient tripping, that's temporary interruptions, on their feeders are restored soon after the rainstorm. However, permanent faults on their feeders will have to be rectified and may take a while to be restored by engineers. So listen, these individual and localized outages and incidents of fallen or sagging conductors within customers' vicinities should be reported to the ECG call center on 0302 611 611. The nearest ECG office will also take your complaints, or you can reach them on social media at ECGGH Official. They're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and they will intervene promptly. ECG wishes to caution all and sundry to be extremely careful during rainy days, not to go near any sagging or fallen electrical conductors because it could be fatal. All right, please note that. Now, it's historic, iconic, it's thrilling. It came from Spain in 1635. The whole world has seen it on almost every stage, especially in Europe, and it's one of the 40 greatest plays of all time. It's now in Africa. Here in Accra, it's the Afrocentric edition of Life is a Dream by Lateef Abubakar, a Spain-Ghana production. Live at the Accra International Conference Center on the 27th and 28th of May. 2 shows each day, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. 150 Ghana cedis is all you need. You can dial star 447 star 1092 hash to grab your tickets, and visit at Lateef Globe on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for details. Early bird tickets are available at 100 Ghana cedis, but actually you can't buy those anymore because they expired on the 19th of May. Sorry, but you can get tickets even today from Joy FM, Bachelor Total, and Airport Shell at full price. Life is a Dream. It is sponsored by Embassy of Spain and MNC Group, supported by the Second Coming of Nkrumah Project, and powered by Joy Entertainment, Graphic News Plus, and Globe Productions. Globe Productions, experience the best. All right, you know what to do. If you have questions, call us now. 0302 216 541 055 1111 997. We'll take a few questions and we'll get answers from Maureen. So listen, call us 0302 216 541 055 1111 997. You have questions or experiences or anecdotes about the domestic workers. Have you been a domestic worker? Have you employed one? What went right? What went wrong? Call us. You're tweeting hard at Nayak says, something new to learn about this. At Kwame Arthur says, to pay snit for them, I'll do my own stuff and keep the money. At Apia 106 says, conditions of service, I understand. But the pension, that's wild. Do you agree with Apia 106? Call us if you have questions. At Fee Baden says, they make the request sound unreasonable, but it's not. At Obeye says, if I'm approached with this from a house help, I will ask for the request. I'm not sure. Maybe he means in writing. Ask for the request in writing. Okay. All right. Okay. So call us 0302 216 541 and 055 1111 997. So do you ever have house helps, or domestic workers insisting on their rights and refusing to work unless the employer does, what they're supposed to?
Yeah, we do. is increasingly, it's getting more and more as we go along. Like I said, times have changed, and some of them have dreams, and they've completed secondary school. They want to go back to the university or a type of education, and so they know that it is this type of employment that would help them, achieve their goal in the long run. So they do insist that if I'm taking care of 4 children, I should earn at least 1,000 cedis. I'm considering my wellness. I'm considering my work-life balance. I'm considering that I have other responsibilities to save, even though they give me accommodation and food. So they do insist on their rights, and some employers are understanding and they do comply. Because if you do not, most people lose their jobs, or you have to come back home and take care of your household. And we know what that means to the finance of the home if just one person is working in a traditional setting. And so they do insist, but we can come to an agreement. If you have a couple who earn maybe 3,000 cedis between them, and you talk to an agency or an agent that I can afford 800 instead of 1,000, we can come to a conclusion that after 6 months we could review it. Yes.
All right. Hayford is on the line from Bator. Hi, Hayford. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Hayford. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
You. Yeah, I would like to know, if I'm a domestic worker, am I supposed to bring a application?
You mean to an agency?
Yeah, the application for the work. Am I supposed to present application for the work?
Okay, all right. So,
and my second question is that if I'm working and the amount they're supposed to pay me, they are not able to pay, what should I do?
So it should you are asking about how you should be recruited. Should it be after you present an application? And 2, what happens if they are not paying you what you agreed?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Hayford. Let's go to Nima. Here's Alex on the line. Hi, Alex. Good morning.
Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
Not bad at all, Alex.
Thank you. And good morning to your resource person, Maureen. Yeah.
So what's your question?
Kojo, it's a very interesting topic. My father is from Togo, and I've been teaching French for some time now, and I've had some experience in that area of the domestic worker, because there have been houses where parents have requested for a French-speaking lady, because they see that to give an advantage to the children, as the person will be speaking with them, be helping them with their homework and all that. So I would like to find out, in that case, because the person is teaching, staying at home, teaching the children, and at the same time doing the house chores, I would like to find out from the Madame Frimpong how that is handled in terms of the contract. And I also think this discussion, it ties up very nicely with another issue, because when the resource person is talking about getting a contract and paying SNIT for the domestic worker, then the issue of work permit and residence permit will come in if it's an expatriate. You know, there are a lot of people who also come from the neighboring countries, Togo, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, to do that kind of work here. So who will be securing that work permit? And even the work permit and residence permit, that is an issue also I've really been trying to reach your station on, because when you want to do the residence permit and the work permit, and the amount involved, Kojo, is close to $1,000. There are many people teaching in Ghana here, teaching French, receiving 700, 800 a month. How do you expect such people to be able to get the residence permit and the work permit with that amount they are charging? Well,
I get your question. We'll get you an answer to that, Alex. And let's go to Gomwa Bujubrim. William, good morning.
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good to hear from you.
Yes, thank God. This issue, number one, where do we draw the line between helping people, our relatives, given our cultural background. And then you're talking about a contract for a domestic worker. Because I cannot take my late relative's child to stay with me and I give that child contract. Does it mean I cannot discipline the child like my own child? I cannot do, because that person to me is my own child. But from what Maureen is saying this morning, that person, I have to sign a contract with the person. How can I sign a contract with my own child? Where then also it raises the issue of domestic violence. And I think that is where the law, I have not read the law, but I think there are gray areas which raises a lot more questions than answers if we look at it on the surface of having legal documents and stuff, especially when you're talking about the person being under 18. We have our relatives bringing their children, or even not even a relative, a friend, bringing a little child who might have lost their parent, or maybe the parents don't have the hand to take care of the child. I've decided to help the child. It's under 18. Yet, is it an illegality? Where do we draw the line? So we need some explanation on this one.
Okay, we'll get
Thank
you
you,
an answer.
Kojo.
Thank you, William. All right, listen, we've got 3 calls to get on with. Let's see if we can get answers for Hayford, Alex, and William. We'll start with Hayford. His questions were, does he need to present an application to get a job as a domestic worker? And what happens if he's not being paid what
he was contracted for? Yes. So from Hayford, I would say that yes, you need an application, and what the application does is to ascertain who Hayford is. What is your age? What is your religious background? What is your tribe? Your tribe, actually, because it's household. Some tribes would prefer a certain tribe to be with them, and so the application is very important for also your experience and what you've done in the past. Your guarantor would be known by your application. If we're looking for you, where do we go to? So your your profile is needed in terms of application to know who we're dealing with, because we are a third-party organization or an agency, and so we would have to have all of this information to know where to place you. And again, in the question of when she was talking about her pay being, she's being paid short of what she agreed, you have to complain about it. By the 3rd month, I think you should bow.
Okay, and Alex wants to know, now, Alex is a French speaker. She says that some people employ French-speaking people to help their kids.
Yeah.
So basically like a home tutor.
Bilingual, yes.
Yes, but then it turns into domestic work as well. And he wants to understand, how contracts regulate that.
That contract could be regulated if your employer, sometimes they meet them in places where, you speak French, do you write French? It becomes more of a conversation and friendship, and then, yes, I can help your children. Like I said, if you do not have a contract, when the person feels that they are no more a teacher but they're a house help and a teacher, they can take you on, and you are the backside of the law. So as soon as there's a contract, you know that I am there to teach. And if you have an application form, it tells us that you are a teacher, not a domestic worker. If you're in a home and they say, help me do this, help me do that, that's fine. I mean, per our culture. But when it gets to a place where the other person feels more of a domestic worker and a teacher than what they've been employed for, then there's a problem. And that's where, if you're taking it to law agencies, you'll be at the backside of the law. So you have to have that contract between the two of you, and it should state clearly what you're supposed to do in the household.
Now, the law says that the contract that you sign with your domestic worker must include details of tribe.
Yes.
And of course, as a facilitator, you will cater to those needs of a client who is looking for a domestic
someone
worker.
can tell you, yes.
But is that not discrimination?
It is. If we're going to go in terms of international standard, it is. But here, we live in a home where I may not want maybe a francophone help, but I want her to teach my children French. She comes in, I think she's very good in what she's doing. Can you help me clean this? I like the way the French people clean and all of that. Then you have moved from being a teacher to a domestic worker. So you should be able to have that contract with the person so that you don't make things murky.
I am actually interested in the tribal aspect of it.
That's the reality on our jobs. Somebody tells you, oh, we have placements, we've made more than dozens of them, and that they return them and say, oh, I thought she was Fanti. I wanted Fanti, I didn't want so and so tribe. And so it's real. On the ground, it's real. Here we can talk about discrimination, but on the ground, people send people away because, oh, I realized she was of this particular tribe, I'm not comfortable with them. It's their household.
Wow, but of course, we are also seeking to abide by laws. And if there are employment laws that say you cannot discriminate in employing someone based on their tribe or ethnicity,
yes,
I wonder how we will marry those two.
We can, like I said, but that's where the agency comes in, so that when we are checking the people or we're looking through the application, we can see that Mr. A wants a Fanti, and so I'll place you with Mr. A. So that the discrimination doesn't come in because you don't fall under it. You didn't go and they treated you because you were Fanti. You were not accepted at all because you're Fanti or a certain tribe they are not comfortable with. So that's why I always bring us back to the agency, so that the person doesn't have to go through that, oh, you speak Fanti, where are you from? Or maybe Gomoa. Oh, no. The last time I did that, it put me in trouble. I don't want a Fanti anymore. But we would have to ask Mr. A, who do you want to work in your house? Tribal preference, religious standing. Even some people would tell you, oh, if they go to this church, I don't want them. If they're Muslim, obviously we can't mix religion, cross religion. We don't do that because, our beliefs are very strong. And maybe in my house, I wouldn't want somebody to pray with another belief. And so it's a gray area that we've not gotten there yet, where we could say that tribe is not an issue. It is an issue on the ground. It is.
All right. Now, Alex also asked about work permits and whether or not agencies can help with that. It seems to be a very expensive thing.
It is very expensive. And so when you have people from the neighboring countries coming in, the agency again has to liaise with the employer. Obviously, we're going to put you in a premium household for them to be able to pay so much. And sometimes I think that if these things come up, and often we can deal with that with the agents in terms of immigration to find out how, like he's saying, if I earn 800 cedis, how many years are they going to deduct $1,000 from my salary to have my work permit? But if people understand that some French-speaking people have come into Ghana and they're working and they need people to teach their children their mother tongue, and so it's a need. What would the laws say about this? How can they, subsidize the fees for these people who have come as domestic workers? So the agency can liaise with you and your employer based on your salary. It means that you're going to be paid as a teacher and a domestic worker, not just a domestic worker. That would put you at a higher band so that it may be deducted from your salary. Yes.
Okay, and the final question was from William.
Yes.
And he's interested in the fine line between helping a family member or an adopted child, and what ought to be employment. He's wondering, so is it now wrong for a friend or a family member to bring their young daughter to me, for me to look after them as as my own child, feed them, clothe them, educate them? Is that now wrong?
That's not wrong. But when the person becomes 18 years and they're an adult, they feel that they're more of a housekeeper than your relative. And so to protect yourself, it may not be a strict contract, but you are in the house as a relative. These are your duties, and this is what we need you to do as a member of the household. If these things are put together, we know we cannot write that down based on our cultural differences, but something must be said about this. One of the things that happens is that the bigger person, who maybe the uncle or the auntie, thinks they're doing you a favor, but the minor may feel that they're house help. So why don't you pay me? And what if they report you to the police that they do all of the house chores? You think they're your relative. So that is quite gray. We can pass it, but look at what is happening, and then advise yourself about it, because they can come onto you and say, I don't feel like your relative, I feel like a house help, and I need to be paid some kind of stipend to, go by. Yes, I don't want you telling me when to eat and when not to eat, but pay me something. And when they start to complain, look at it as something that you have to decide what you want to do. But when they're minor, that's an act of benevolence. So we can just say until law comes regarding that, we can pass anything.
This is very interesting. You've really educated us, Maureen, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
At least now we know what we're supposed to do and what we can't do. Maureen Frimpong is talent manager and head recruiter at Evolve Placement and Services Company Limited, and you'll be hearing more from her because we have other conversations that Maureen can help us with. You heard mention of caring for the aged. Yeah, that's a whole can of worms.
A lot.
We'll be getting into that on another occasion. Until then, Maureen, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, listen, stay with